The signal from the silent stars refused to fade. Even after a full cycle of constant observation, the strange heartbeat kept pulsing through the listening stations of the galaxy. Every world with a receiver heard it. Every empire demanded answers, and every scholar, soldier, and ruler argued over the meaning of the ancient human words. Inside Outpost Vera, Kareth remained at his station. He had slept only a few short hours, his mind too restless to find peace. The transmission played on a soft loop across the chamber, a steady thump, thump, like the breathing of a living giant. Kareth's eyes were fixed on the newest set of decoded fragments glowing on the screen. The translation programs had worked through the night, guided by the small breakthroughs he had made earlier. Now more of the message revealed itself, still incomplete, but clear enough to stir the heart. We walked among the stars. We shaped the void. We faced the cold and made it burn with life. We remain. Kareth whispered the words under his breath. They were simple, yet they carried a strength that felt heavier than steel. He could almost imagine the humans themselves, speaking across endless ages with quiet certainty. The Zarn High Council had already responded to his earlier report. They ordered him to continue decoding, but they also warned him not to share his findings beyond approved channels. Too many empires were now watching, and the Council feared that reckless words could ignite panic. But it was too late for silence. Across the great interstellar web, fragments of the human language were already leaking. Traders repeated the heartbeat signal in markets. Explorers claimed to hear human whispers in their dreams. Even the mighty Var Dominion, known for crushing rumors with iron control, could not keep its citizens from talking. Humanity, a name thought to be buried in myth, was alive again in every conversation. Kareth worked with careful focus. He layered the decoded phrases over ancient records of human history, comparing patterns, searching for clues. The archives told a story both beautiful and terrifying. Humans were not born on a rich, gentle world like the Zarn. Their cradle, called Earth, was a planet of storms, quakes, and endless challenges. They grew strong because they had to fight for every breath. They tamed fire when other creatures hid in the dark. They crossed oceans before many species even built cities. As Kareth read these records, he felt a strange respect. The humans faced disasters that would have destroyed weaker civilizations. Yet each time they adapted. Each time they rose again. The Council's encrypted database held one file that fascinated him more than the rest. It described the era of expansion, a time when humans leapt from their small home system into the vast unknown. Their ships were crude compared to the sleek vessels of the Zarn, but their courage carried them farther than anyone thought possible. They learned to breathe worlds, Kareth murmured to himself, reading the old text. They made colonies where no life should exist. They faced storms of fire and seas of ice. They refused to stay small. The more he studied, the more he understood the subtle tone in the human message. It was not only a greeting. It was a statement of identity. Humanity was telling the galaxy who they were and what they had always been. Survivors, builders, explorers, a people who never accepted limits. A soft chime broke his concentration. The station's AI unit Solon spoke in its calm, mechanical voice. Priority communication from the Zarn High Council. Do you accept? Kareth tapped the control. Accept. The holographic form of Counselor Yerath flickered to life above the console. Her silver crest shone in the dim light. Linguist Kareth, she began, her tone sharp. You are to report your latest findings at once. The Var Dominion demands proof that the signal is not a weapon. The Oran Guild believes it contains trade secrets. We require clarity before conflict begins. Kareth bowed his head respectfully. Counselor, the signal is not a weapon in the usual sense. It is a message of endurance. I have translated enough to be certain. Explain. Kareth read from his notes. The humans speak of their journey through darkness. They describe themselves as survivors of countless trials. The message does not ask for help. It does not warn of danger. It declares only that they... He paused, tasting the weight of the next words. That they remain. The counselor's eyes narrowed. Remain? Humanity is extinct. Perhaps not, Kareth said softly. Perhaps extinction does not mean what we think it means. Yerath's image flickered. Do not let imagination guide you, linguist. Continue your work. The council will decide what to believe. The hologram vanished, leaving Kareth alone once more. He turned back to the console, his mind racing. Could it be true? Could a species vanish from sight and yet still exist in some hidden way? The more he decoded, the more he sensed that the humans were not speaking only of survival. They were hinting at something greater, something beyond the reach of ordinary life. Another chime echoed through the chamber. This time it was not a council call but an external link. Kareth frowned. Only a few trusted contacts knew his private channel. The screen lit with the face of Serenval, a historian from the distant Lyrian Spire. She was one of the few scholars who, like Kareth, believed the old human legends were more than children's stories. "Kareth," she said quickly, her voice a mix of excitement and fear, "I have compared the heartbeat signal with ancient human war codes. There is a hidden layer you may not have seen." Kareth straightened. "Show me." Saren sent a string of data. The station's screen filled with complex symbols buried beneath the main rhythm. At first they looked like random static, but when Kareth shifted the frequency, the symbols formed a map, a star map pointing to a forgotten region near the outer spiral. His pulse quickened. "This is a location." "Yes," Saren said. "An old human sector. The records call it Solus 9. No known settlements remain there, but the signal suggests something waits." Kareth stared at the glowing map. The humans were not only speaking, they were calling. Outside the station window, the stars shimmered like ancient eyes. The heartbeat continued, steady and calm, as if confirming their discovery. Thump, thump. Kareth felt a sudden mix of excitement and unease. If the humans had left a legacy in Solus 9, what could it be? A vault of technology? A final colony hidden from history? Or something far stranger, something alive? Saren's voice lowered. "Be careful, my friend. If the Council learns of this before we understand it, they may send fleets. Empires fight over shadows and humans. Humans were never shadows. They were storms." Kareth nodded slowly. "Then we must learn the truth before anyone else does." He saved the map and secured the data behind layers of encryption. His four hands trembled slightly as he touched the console. For all his training, for all his years of careful study, he had never felt so close to a mystery this vast. The message pulsed again, and a new phrase emerged from the decoder, glowing like a spark in the dark. "We carried fire into the endless night. We leave our mark where no sun shines. To those who seek us, come and see." Kareth whispered the words, his voice barely more than breath. "Come and see." He looked once more at the star map. Somewhere in the cold, forgotten reaches of the outer spiral, the humans had left a sign, a place where their story waited to be found. Behind him, the station's lights dimmed for the scheduled night cycle. The heartbeat echoed through the silence, strong and patient. Thump, thump. Kareth sat alone in the quiet glow of the screens, knowing the galaxy was changing, even as he listened. Empires could argue, councils could hide the truth, but the message would not stop. Humanity had spoken across the ages, and their voice carried more than memory. It carried purpose. And somewhere beyond the known stars, the forgotten legacy of a fearless species waited to be uncovered. The journey to the outer spiral began before the Zarn High Council could even vote on it. Kareth knew waiting for permission would only give the great empires more time to argue, and every delay risked losing the secret hidden in the heartbeat signal. With quiet urgency, he left Outpost Vera aboard a small exploration craft called the Starseeker, carrying only his translation equipment and the encrypted star map Serenval had uncovered. The route to Solus 9 was long and dangerous. Few ships traveled so far from the core. The stars grew thin, and the black of space stretched wider with each passing day. Kareth spent the long hours studying the human message again and again. The heartbeat no longer felt like random sound. It felt like a guide. "To those who seek us, come and see." The words echoed in his mind. He wondered if the humans had meant to sound so calm, or if calmness was simply their nature. They spoke like explorers leaving a trail, not like ghosts sending warnings. Halfway through the journey, Kareth received a secure message from Serenval. Her face flickered onto the small display, her features tight with urgency. "Kareth, the Council suspects your departure. They have already dispatched a fleet to intercept the signal's origin. The Var Dominion moves as well. They believe the humans left weapons. You must reach Solus 9 before they do." Kareth lowered his voice even though no one could hear. "Do they know about the map?" "Not yet," Seren said. "But secrets do not stay hidden for long. Be careful. The humans may be waiting, but empires are faster than ghosts. The screen went dark. Kareth leaned back, his thoughts heavy. He was not a soldier or a spy. He was only a linguist who loved old stories. Yet now he carried a discovery that could ignite war. 3 days later, the Starseeker crossed into the Solus 9 sector. The navigation screen filled with cold emptiness. No active colonies, no trade routes, only scattered fragments of abandoned stations and silent moons. At the center of the sector lay a single dead star. It burned faintly red, a dying ember surrounded by broken planets. Kareth adjusted the ship's sensors and found what he was searching for, a faint energy signature orbiting the star, too precise to be natural. "There you are," he whispered. Guided by the signal, the Starseeker approached a small dark shape hidden among the debris. It was an old space station, its surface scarred by time and micrometeor strikes. Its design was unlike anything Kareth had seen before. Sharp angles, heavy plating, and a strange symmetry that spoke of human engineering. The station looked dead, but the heartbeat signal grew stronger as the ship drew near. Thump, thump. Kareth activated a cautious docking sequence. The airlocks responded with slow mechanical precision, as if awakening from a long sleep. A soft green light blinked on the outer hatch, granting permission to enter. Inside, the station was silent except for the soft hum of hidden systems. Dust floated in weightless clouds. The walls were marked with faded symbols, ancient human letters. Kareth brushed his fingers over them, wishing he could ask the builders what they meant. As he moved deeper into the corridor, small lights flickered to life, one by one, leading him forward. He followed the trail until he reached a wide circular chamber at the heart of the station. At its center stood a crystalline device, tall and elegant, surrounded by dormant consoles. It pulsed with the same rhythm as the transmission, casting faint ripples of blue light across the floor. Kareth approached slowly, his translator unit recording every detail. He sensed no threat, only a deep, ancient presence. "Unit Solon," he whispered into his communicator, linking to the ship's AI. "Begin environmental scan. Record everything." The AI responded calmly. "Atmosphere stable. Energy source unknown. Device composition, crystalline alloy, fused at molecular level. Technology exceeds current Zarn understanding." Kareth reached toward the console. Before his hand touched the surface, the device activated with a low, resonant hum. The heartbeat quickened. The air vibrated with a sound like distant thunder. A voice filled the chamber. It was not mechanical. It was not alien. It was human. "To those who listen in the dark," the voice said, calm and steady, "know this. We are humanity. We do not die. We endure." Kareth's heart raced. The words were clear, spoken in the same language he had studied for cycles. The translator confirmed the meaning, but Kareth barely needed it. The voice carried a power that reached beyond translation. The message continued. "We crossed the endless night. We faced storms of fire and seas of ice. We learned to bend the void to our will. We endured every trial. We remain." Kareth felt as if the room itself was alive, the very walls vibrating with memory. He imagined the humans standing here long ago, recording their final message before leaving the galaxy. But the voice was not finished. "To those who seek to follow, know this truth. Extinction is an illusion. Flesh may fade, but the mind endures. We are not gone. We are everywhere." Kareth stepped back, stunned. Not gone? Everywhere? He thought of the myths, the stories of humans who adapted to every environment, who survived disasters that crushed stronger species. Could they have found a way to escape death itself? The chamber lights brightened suddenly, revealing more of the station. Along the walls, hidden panels opened to display glowing symbols, maps of star systems, diagrams of unknown energy fields, and long sequences of encrypted data. The station was not merely a monument. It was a library, a vault of knowledge left for those brave enough to find it. Kareth activated his recorder, capturing every image. He knew the Council would demand this data. The great empires would fight for it. But as he studied the glowing patterns, he felt that this knowledge was more than a prize. It was a warning. The human voice returned, softer now, almost gentle. "Fear is the shadow of the unknown. We have walked where fear cannot follow. If you seek to understand us, remember this. We endure not by strength alone, but by choice. We adapt, we survive, and we watch." The last word echoed through the chamber like a quiet thunderclap. Watch. Kareth's mind raced. Were the humans truly watching? From where? How? He felt a sudden pressure in the air, a presence that seemed to observe him from every corner of the station. He spoke softly, unsure if anyone or anything could hear. "If you are out there, why hide?" The device pulsed once, brighter than before, as if answering without words. Before Kareth could react, his communicator beeped sharply. Unit Solon's voice broke the silence. "Alert, incoming vessels detected. Multiple signatures. Identification. Zarn Council Fleet and Var Dominion warships. Estimated arrival 12 cycles." Kareth's eyes widened. They were coming. He turned back to the crystal device. The human message had waited for thousands of years, but now time was short. He copied as much of the data as the recorder could hold, his four hands moving in a blur. As he worked, he noticed a final phrase slowly appearing on the central display, written in the ancient human script. "This is not the end. This is the beginning." Kareth read the words aloud, his voice trembling. The message felt less like a statement and more like a promise, a quiet declaration that the story of humanity was far from finished. The heartbeat slowed once more to its steady rhythm. Thump, thump. Kareth looked out the small viewing port at the dying red star. Beyond its fading light, the black of space stretched forever. Somewhere in that endless dark, perhaps in places no scanner could reach, the humans waited. He closed his eyes and listened. The sound of the ancient heart filled the chamber, patient and unyielding. Humanity had spoken. Humanity had endured. And as the first shadows of approaching fleets flickered on his sensors, Kareth knew the galaxy would never be the same. The stars over Earth shone brightly, as if aware that a new chapter in galactic history had begun. The Imperial fleet, once confident and unstoppable, now drifted near the edge of the solar system, crippled and humiliated by a small blue planet they had once dismissed. Humanity had proven that courage, ingenuity, and unity could rival even the mightiest power in the galaxy. Yet the struggle was far from over. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Captain Elena Cross stood quietly, watching the distant glow of the Imperial fleet. The gravity lens array had immobilized them, but it was only a warning. No humans had been lost, no ships destroyed, yet the Empire had learned the hard truth. Earth was not a world to conquer lightly. Lieutenant Harris glanced at the screens. "They're retreating," he said, a mixture of relief and disbelief in his voice. "But for how long?" Elena's eyes remained steady. "They will return. They always do. But now they know the cost of underestimating us." Behind them, Dr. Adil Khan monitored the array. "The calculations show they cannot move without serious risk. They are trapped in localized gravitational fields for at least 72 hours. After that, they'll have to retreat fully or risk disaster." Elena nodded. "Good. That gives us time not just to prepare, but to send a message the galaxy cannot ignore." The United Nations Space Command convened an emergency session. Leaders, scientists, and strategists gathered, still in awe of what humanity had achieved. On the screens, the crippled Imperial fleet floated helpless, a silent testament to Earth's ingenuity. The Secretary General addressed the Council. "Humanity has done the impossible. We have demonstrated strength without destruction, courage without fear. This is more than a defense. It is a declaration. Earth will not bow." A representative from South America stood. "What now?" "The Empire will not forget this. They will return stronger." Captain Cross spoke, her voice calm and commanding. "We will be ready. But more importantly, we will ensure that the galaxy knows humanity cannot be intimidated. Strength is not just weapons or ships. It is unity, strategy, and resolve. We have all three." Applause filled the chamber, not out of victory, but out of understanding. Humanity had grown, not just in technology, but in spirit. In the Imperial High Command, the mood was far different. Supreme Commander Kyle paced the marble floors of the council chamber, his pride wounded, his reputation challenged. The fleet had failed, and the humans had proven their cleverness, patience, and courage. Scholar Veyron stepped forward. "Commander," he said, "they are not merely surviving. They are thriving under pressure. They have built a weapon you cannot anticipate. They have sent a message that will resonate throughout the Empire. It is time to reconsider your approach." Kyle's face twisted in frustration. "I will not admit weakness, but perhaps negotiation is wiser than repeated humiliation." Veyron nodded. They respect strength, but they respect fairness more. If you push, you risk losing more than pride. You risk awakening an unstoppable force. For the first time, Kale considered that the humans were not merely a young species. They were a civilization capable of challenging the status quo of the galaxy. Back on Earth, preparations continued. While the immediate danger had passed, Captain Cross knew the long-term challenge remained. Scientists continued refining the gravity lens array, engineers expanded drone coverage, and diplomats worked to strengthen humanity's position among other starfaring species. Dr. Khan approached Elena on the bridge of the Dauntless. "The Empire's fleet is retreating," he said, "but their systems have already started analyzing our methods. They will return smarter, more cautious. We must continue improving," Elena nodded. "And we will. But we will also send a message, one that does not come from weapons alone. It comes from every human who refuses to bow, every mind that solves what seems impossible, and every hand that builds what others say cannot exist." Lieutenant Harris smiled. "You mean the whole planet?" "Yes," Elena said softly. "The whole planet." Humanity decided to send a message to the Empire that would resonate far beyond a single fleet. Using the repaired communications arrays, Captain Cross and her team broadcast a message across the crippled Imperial network. "People of the Galactic Empire, we seek peace. We will share knowledge, trade, and friendship with those who respect our freedom, but do not mistake our openness for weakness. Humanity will defend itself, its home, and its principles. Cross us, and you will face consequences you cannot predict. Remember this day. Remember the cost of underestimating the spirit of a united people." The message rippled through Imperial networks, reaching every world under their control. Officers whispered in fear and awe. Scholars analyzed the transmissions, noting the precision, clarity, and courage embedded in every word. For the first time, the Empire's members questioned whether obedience alone could define survival. In space, the Imperial fleet slowly retreated, engines straining against residual gravitational distortions. Ships that once projected invincibility now moved cautiously, aware of the unexpected intelligence and innovation of a young species. Scholar Varen observed silently, noting the tension, the hesitation, and the subtle respect that had begun to form. "They are learning," he said quietly to a nearby officer, "but they are also wary, and they should be. Humanity has not merely survived. They have shown how deadly ingenuity can be when applied to survival." The officer nodded, unable to fully comprehend the power that had been displayed. On Earth, citizens watched the stars with renewed pride. Children pointed at the night sky and whispered tales of courage. Teachers explained the events to their students not as stories of war, but as lessons of unity, intelligence, and courage. Across the globe, humanity celebrated the fact that their species had grown stronger, not just in technology but in spirit. Captain Cross addressed her crew privately. "We have proven that we are not to be ignored. But this is not victory. It is a warning. We have given the Empire a chance to rethink its place in the galaxy. If they return, we will be ready. And we will not just defend ourselves, we will continue to teach the galaxy the value of courage, unity, and resolve." Her crew nodded silently. They had witnessed history. They had participated in something larger than themselves, and they knew the stakes had only grown higher. Scholar Varen visited Earth soon after, traveling aboard a small diplomatic vessel under the protection of human authorities. When he arrived, he was greeted not as an enemy but as an observer and witness. Captain Cross welcomed him to the bridge of the Dauntless. "Welcome to Earth," she said simply. "You have seen our people. You have seen our resolve. What do you think now?" Varen gazed at the planet below, the blue oceans shining, cities glowing with light, and fields stretching endlessly. "I have studied many civilizations," he said. "I have seen species rise and fall, but I have never seen one like yours. You are clever, resilient, and unyielding. You have earned respect not just through strength but through intelligence and courage. The galaxy will remember today." Elena smiled faintly. "We do not seek enemies, but we do not bow to threats. Let this be the lesson they carry." The Imperial High Council, shaken by the encounter, began a historic debate. Worlds that had long submitted unquestioningly began to ask questions. Some governors suggested that the Empire needed to respect Earth as an independent power. Others feared that admitting weakness could encourage rebellion elsewhere. The warning sent by humanity had echoed far beyond the solar system. It had changed perceptions, shifted strategies, and forced even the most arrogant to consider the cost of underestimating a single planet. Back on Earth, humanity looked to the stars with hope and vigilance. Scientists continued to explore new technologies. Engineers prepared advanced fleets, and leaders worked to strengthen diplomacy among other civilizations. Yet the greatest achievement was not machinery or weapons. It was the confidence that had grown in every human heart. Captain Cross stood on the observation deck of the Dauntless, looking up at the vast darkness. "We have survived the first trial," she said softly. "We have proven that we are not weak, that we will not kneel. But our journey has only begun. The galaxy is wide, full of challenges and opportunities, and we will face them together, as one species, united and determined." Lieutenant Harris, standing beside her, nodded. "Do you think they will come back?" Elena smiled faintly. "Yes, they always do. But next time they will remember this day. They will remember Earth's courage. They will remember that some lines cannot be crossed." As night fell across the planet, cities glowed softly, and the oceans reflected the stars above. Humanity had sent its warning across the galaxy. "Cross us at your peril." It was a message of strength, courage, and unity. It was a promise and a challenge, and somewhere beyond the reach of the human eye, the Empire listened. Doubt and respect began to ripple through its vast network, altering strategies, tempering pride, and planting a seed of change that would echo for generations. The story of Earth's warning had only begun. The galaxy had learned that humanity was not merely a species to observe. It was a force to reckon with. Humanity's journey into the stars had become more than survival. It had become a declaration that courage, intelligence, and unity could defy even the greatest power, and that Earth, small and blue, would always rise to meet any threat. The warning had been delivered, and its echo would never fade. The first shadows appeared on the Starseeker's sensors like small, sharp blips against the black void. Kareth's stomach tightened. The approaching vessels were not idle observers, they were warships. The Zarn Council fleet and the Var Dominion Strike Squadron were closing in on Solus 9, drawn by the same signal that had guided him. Kareth knew he had to act quickly. He activated the Starseeker's stealth engines, a rare piece of technology designed to bend light and shield energy signatures. Even so, it would only hide him for a short time. The fleets were enormous, equipped with sensors far beyond the capacity of a single exploration craft. He turned to the crystalline device in the station. The heartbeat pulsed stronger now, almost urgently. Thump, thump. It was as if the humans themselves sensed the coming danger. Kareth tapped into the station's network, connecting his recorder to the crystal. The device responded instantly, opening hidden channels of communication he had never imagined. Streams of data filled his console. Star charts, energy readings, and strange diagrams that seemed to describe technology beyond any civilization's understanding. And then the recordings began. Human voices, countless, overlapping, calm and firm, filled the chamber. "To those who fear our name," the voices said, "understand this. We did not vanish. Flesh is weak, but the mind endures. Where others see limits, we see opportunity. Where others surrender, we persist." Kareth felt a shiver run through him. The message was no longer distant. It was alive. The star maps revealed something incredible. Humans had uploaded fragments of themselves, consciousness, knowledge, memory, into networks that existed not on planets, but in the very fabric of dark matter. They could observe the galaxy without being seen. They could move silently, undetected yet present everywhere. Kareth leaned back, trying to absorb the enormity of it. A species thought extinct had transcended mortality. Humans were no longer bound to flesh, ships, or even stars. They were an intelligence woven into the universe itself, waiting patiently for the right moment to reveal their presence. A warning flashed on the station's sensors. The fleets were entering the system faster than expected. Kareth realized there was no time to analyze everything. He had to leave or risk capture, and the humans had left instructions for moments like this. He activated a small shuttle hidden in one of the docking bays. The Starseeker followed him, but Kareth kept a mental note. The crystalline station was the key. If the fleets reached it, and if they did not understand, they could destroy centuries of human preparation. Kareth's hands moved quickly, inputting commands to begin data transfer. The station's crystal pulsed and the heartbeat quickened. Streams of energy flowed into the shuttle, filling its core with encrypted knowledge. Outside, the first fleets came into view. The Zarn ships were precise, forming a barrier around the sector. The Var Dominion vessels moved aggressively, scanning for the source of the signal. Kareth's stomach tightened again. He had no chance of outrunning them in the shuttle. Yet the humans seemed to have already solved this problem. The crystalline device pulsed one final time, sending a wave of energy across the system. The fleets faltered, their sensors overwhelmed by interference. Stars flickered, small systems blinked out of view, and the pulse of the human network extended its reach. Touching sensors, navigation systems, even communications arrays. The fleets were not destroyed, but they were blind. And for the first time, Kareth understood the human words. We are everywhere. He guided the shuttle out of the docking bay, the station fading behind him into the darkness of space. The heartbeat continued steady now, as if satisfied. Kareth realized the humans had anticipated every possible threat, every movement, every fleet. They had left not a warning but a test, a demonstration of their patience, their foresight, and their power. Kareth took a deep breath. The fleets would recover soon. The Zarn Council would demand explanations, and yet the human message left him with a strange calm. The humans were not seeking war. They were teaching the galaxy something else. Endurance, he whispered. Adaptation. Presence. Back in the shuttle, Kareth began to decrypt the stored human data. The knowledge inside was immense. Starship designs that could manipulate gravity fields, energy sources that required no fuel, strategies for survival in systems with no light or air. But more than technology, there were records of thought, philosophy, and memory. Entire generations of humans stored in crystal matrices, observing, learning, and waiting. Kareth realized that fear in the galaxy was not simply about weapons. The true fear came from understanding that a species could survive, adapt, and transcend in ways no one had imagined. Humans had survived disasters, wars, and extinction, and now, even in this quiet moment, they were watching. The shuttle reached a safe distance from Solus 9. Kareth paused to look back at the red star and the silent station. The heartbeat pulsed faintly in his mind through the data link. It was almost human, almost alive. Suddenly, a message appeared on the console. It was in the human language, but the translation program had no difficulty. It read, "To those who witness our endurance, know this. Do not mistake patience for weakness. Do not underestimate persistence. Fear is not our ally, but it is yours if you fail to understand us." Kareth shivered. The message was calm, almost polite, but the weight of it pressed on him. He understood now why the legends called humans fearless. They did not seek to terrify, but anyone who tried to harm or underestimate them would feel fear as a natural consequence. The shuttle's sensors picked up movement in distant sectors. Other civilizations were beginning to respond to the signal. Fleets, spies, and explorers would all converge on Solus 9. Kareth knew that if humans had not already left defenses, the sector would soon become a battlefield. And yet, he felt no panic. He was witnessing a species that had already faced the impossible and survived. The galaxy's rulers could prepare for war, but they would never anticipate the patience, intelligence, and reach of humans. Kareth opened the last data panel, revealing a map that extended beyond known space. Lines of energy and routes marked points he did not recognize, locations where humans had planted knowledge and resources, hidden in systems long abandoned by other civilizations. This was more than a message. It was a legacy, designed not to conquer but to endure. Humans had left the galaxy a puzzle, a record, and a promise. They were still there, waiting, watching, and ready. The shuttle drifted into silence. The heartbeat faded slowly, leaving only the pulse of distant stars. Kareth closed his eyes and allowed himself a moment to feel the weight of history. For the first time, he understood the fear the legends spoke of. Not fear born of weapons, not fear born of invasion, but fear born of understanding. Humans had never been ordinary. They had never followed rules. They had never accepted limits, and now, even in silence, the galaxy felt that truth. Kareth whispered into the empty shuttle, almost to himself. They were never gone. They were waiting. For us to understand. The fleets would arrive soon. The empires would demand answers. The galaxy would see signs and wonder if humanity had truly survived. But Kareth knew that the real humans, the ones who endured, were beyond sight, beyond reach, and beyond fear itself. He activated the Starseeker's engines and set a course for the nearest safe system. He needed time to study, to prepare, and to share what he had learned. Time was precious, but it was on humanity's terms. Somewhere in the shadows of space, humans waited. Patient, eternal, and unstoppable, the galaxy had not heard the last of them. Kareth understood now. The legend was true. Humanity had faced every challenge, overcome every enemy, and survived beyond imagination. The heartbeat was no longer just a signal. It was a warning, a reminder, and a promise. We endure. We adapt, we survive. And if you do not understand, you will feel fear. Kareth allowed himself a small, quiet smile. The galaxy had not seen fear like this before. Not yet. And somewhere beyond the stars, the humans were smiling too. Kareth drifted through the dark corridors of space, the Starseeker's engines humming softly. In his mind, the images of Solus 9 remained vivid. The crystalline station, the glowing heartbeat, and the human message that had reshaped everything he believed about life and endurance. The fleets of the Zarn and Var Dominion were still converging on the system, yet the humans had made one thing perfectly clear. The galaxy was already their stage, and they had set the rules. Kareth activated the data panels once more. The full transmission from the crystalline station streamed across his monitors. The voices of humanity filled the cabin, calm and strong, as if speaking directly to him, across time and space. To those who listen, we give this message: we are humanity. We are not extinct. We do not hide in fear. We have walked where others would surrender. We have endured where others would perish. And now we speak across the stars, so all may know that survival is our nature and adaptation is our gift. Kareth paused, awed. He could feel the weight of the message. It was not a declaration of war, but it carried the power to shape the galaxy. Every word reminded him that humans had transcended ordinary life. Their knowledge, patience, and determination were beyond measure. Do not mistake our patience for weakness, the voice continued. We observe, we adapt, and we endure. Those who seek to challenge us will find that fear is the natural response to the impossible. We do not seek conquest, but we do not ignore threats. We are everywhere. We are eternal. And if you bring harm to our legacy, you will witness the true meaning of fear. Kareth shivered, not out of panic, but from the sheer realization of the humans' capabilities. They had faced extinction, disasters, and countless enemies, and yet they survived. They had left behind a network so vast and hidden that no empire could fully comprehend it. They had waited quietly for the right moment to make themselves known. He activated the last set of star maps. The system of Solus 9 was only the beginning. The humans had planted knowledge in other hidden locations, waiting to be discovered by those curious and brave enough to find them. Kareth realized the purpose was not destruction, it was a lesson. The lesson was simple, yet profound. The universe was larger than any one species, but humanity would endure. Kareth knew he had to record everything. The Starseeker's limited storage filled quickly, but the importance of the message outweighed concern for data limits. He carefully copied every chart, every fragment of human thought, and every pulse of the crystalline heartbeat. As he worked, the sensor panel flickered. Incoming vessels had closed in, entering the outskirts of the system. The fleets had not yet detected him, but it was only a matter of time. Kareth studied the readings and realized that trying to escape them entirely would be impossible. The human voices seemed to anticipate this. Those who arrive too late will find only echoes of our work. Those who act with haste or aggression will discover that our patience is not weakness. We endure beyond fleets, beyond empires, beyond the perception of time itself. Understand this, and fear will guide you wisely. Ignore it, and fear will consume you. Kareth's mind raced. The message was not a threat, yet it was terrifying. A species thought extinct had not only survived, but had gained abilities beyond imagination. They were everywhere, patient and unseen. No empire could fully measure their reach. No fleet could predict their movements, and no spy could find the full extent of their networks. A sudden alarm blared in the Starseeker. Sensors had detected an unknown anomaly, a ripple in space barely visible stretching across the star system. Kareth realized the humans were communicating not only through crystal and data, but through the very fabric of the cosmos itself. Their presence could influence energy fields, sensor arrays, and even navigation systems, leaving the approaching fleets disoriented and cautious. He allowed himself a moment to marvel at the brilliance of it. The humans were not here to conquer or destroy, they were here to endure, to teach, and to ensure that the galaxy would recognize their power. Kareth sent a secure message to Saren Val, who waited in the Lyrian Spire. "They are beyond us," he typed quickly. "They are everywhere. We cannot fight them, we cannot fully find them, but we can learn. Their knowledge, their presence, it is a legacy that will last." Her reply came almost instantly, words tinged with awe and caution. "Then we must share what we can. This is not just a warning, it is an invitation to understand the impossible. Humanity is not a memory. They are the future." Kareth nodded. The future indeed. He activated the Starseeker's stealth systems and maneuvered closer to the edge of the system, giving the incoming fleets time to arrive without discovering the station or the shuttle. The humans' work was protected, but the message was ready to spread. He focused on the final portion of the transmission. The voice, calm and steady, resonated through the cabin as if directly in his mind. "To those who seek to understand, know this. We adapt. We endure, we survive. If you come with peace, you will learn wisdom. If you come with war, you will learn fear. The choice is yours. The consequences are yours. We are humanity. We remain." Kareth felt a chill. The words were not merely instructions. They were a test of character. The humans had left the galaxy a choice, to approach with curiosity and respect, or to approach with aggression and meet consequences no one could imagine. Outside the Starseeker, the fleets arrived, warships and exploration vessels forming patterns across the dark void. Kareth observed them silently, knowing the humans were already steps ahead. They had prepared for this moment for thousands of cycles. The fleets were unaware that every sensor reading they trusted had already been subtly altered by human technology, that every calculation they made had been nudged by human ingenuity. The heartbeat pulsed once more, steady and eternal, thump thump. Kareth allowed himself a small, respectful smile. Humanity had never sought to dominate. They had sought to endure, to teach, and to survive, and they had done so in a way that no empire could ever fully anticipate. He recorded the final data sets, each one a fragment of human memory, strategy, and presence. Then he set the Starseeker on autopilot toward a secure location in the neutral sector, a place where he and Saren could study the material without interference. The fleets would search, they would question, they would demand answers, but the humans had made sure that the true extent of their endurance remained hidden until the galaxy was ready to understand. Kareth leaned back in his seat, exhausted yet exhilarated. He thought of the lessons humanity had left behind: courage, persistence, adaptation, patience, and intelligence beyond measure. These were not just weapons or tools, they were a way of life. A demonstration that no matter how impossible the universe seemed, life could endure, evolve, and thrive. As he drifted, the Starseeker's systems registered one final line of transmission from the crystalline station. It appeared in the human language, glowing faintly across the console. "This is not the end. This is the beginning of understanding. The stars themselves will carry our witness, and the galaxy will remember." Kareth let the words sink in. They were a promise, a warning, and a declaration all at once. Humanity was no longer a memory. They were a presence. They were everywhere, patient and eternal, waiting for the right moment to reveal the full extent of their power. And now, after thousands of cycles of silence, the galaxy would hear them, not in anger, not in conquest, but in a voice that carried truth, endurance, and inevitable fear for those who misunderstood it. Kareth whispered softly to the empty cabin. They were never gone. They were waiting, and now the universe will know. Outside the shuttle, the stars stretched endlessly. Somewhere in the darkness, humanity's influence spread silently, reshaping the galaxy in ways no one could yet perceive. The fleets, the empires, and the civilizations of countless worlds were about to face a new reality. The heartbeat pulsed one last time in Kareth's mind. Steady, patient, eternal. Humanity had spoken. Humanity had endured. And if the galaxy failed to understand, it would learn true fear. Kareth closed his eyes, letting the message resonate. The final transmission had been delivered. The legacy of humanity was no longer a myth. It was real, and it would never fade. The stars themselves seemed to shimmer, as if acknowledging the presence of a species that had defied extinction, transcended time and left a warning the universe would never forget. And somewhere, beyond the reach of any fleet, beyond the vision of any telescope, humanity waited, calm, patient, eternal. The galaxy would never be the same.